Well, this is a theme I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to wrap it into everything we talk about, but it's being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Um, and it's an excellent question because it allows me to talk about this. That this is really, it's not just applicable to the military or to entrepreneurs. In life, if you're going to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. And
Absolutely.
I think that, to step into basic training, this is what I love about veterans, and why I hire a lot of them, is when you step into, say, you sign up and say, I'm going to serve the military, you've never been to basic training before, you've never served.
Mhm.
And so you have this desire to serve and excel, to do great things, but you've never been until you actually step foot there and start the training. And that's really uncomfortable. Your confidence is kind of low.
Recording. Well, hello, audaciously confident people. This is Alicia Curry here with another episode of Leading with Audacious Confidence. And I am so thrilled to have as my guest today, Chris Lovell. Chris is the CEO of Lovell Government Services. He is a retired Marine Corps major who has served in many leadership roles in logistics support and contracting assignments around the globe during his 24 years of honorable service. Thank you so much, Chris, for your service. Chris's private sector experience includes operational leadership roles at Amazon, Lexmark International, and the Defense Logistic Agency, the DLA. Chris is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy class of 1994 and holds a Master's of Business Administration degree from the University of West Florida. He is married and has 3 children. I have 3 children myself, so that will be an interesting conversation. So let's see where that goes. And so welcome to the show, Chris. So glad to have you.
Thanks, Alicia. It's an honor to be on. Appreciate you having me.
So you are the CEO of Lovell Government Services. Did I say that right? Lovell
Yes.
Government Services.
We just say Lovell. Lovell's easy now. That's what we say.
Lovell, yeah.
Yeah.
So what exactly is your business and your company?
Yeah, so we are a wholesale pharmacy and a medical surgical supplier. Our primary customer is the federal government, and that includes the Department of Defense, the VA hospital system, and we also serve other agencies and state and local governments to help them with their medical and emergency needs.
So I came across Chris because his company is on the Inc. 5000 list, and that is a huge accomplishment. So congratulations for that. And
Thank
I
you.
wanted to reach out because I want to really talk to leaders that their companies are growing, and the Inc. 5000 is the fastest growing companies that make the list. And so I really want to get from your perspective what your leadership philosophy is, having been in the Marine Corps and now owning your own company.
Yeah, and thanks for asking me that. The Marine Corps philosophy, what I learned from the Marines is servant leadership. So the people that work with you and work for you, it's really not I tell you to do things because I'm the boss. It's, hey, we're working together, and what do you need to be successful? So you want them to be successful. Obviously, you have goals, but you want them to be successful. So you support them,
Right.
Emotionally, in terms of listening to their needs, making them feel and setting them up for success to be successful in their position. You don't want to set them up for the wrong position, and you want to be there to provide them the resources, financially and emotionally, to allow them to excel and be superstars themselves.
Wow, that's excellent. And you've translated that, you've taken that philosophy into now your own organization.
Yes. There's a book called Marines Eat Last by Simon, and I can't remember his last name, or Leaders Eat Last. And he spent time with the Marines to look at that. And it's to write the book. And it's really true. Marines, the leaders do eat last. The most junior person who served the least amount of time, when it comes to eating chow, they go first because they're the most important. It's servant leadership. So yeah, we do eat last, and we eat last because we want to show the people that work with us and for us that we care about them. And so that's kind of been my mantra, and I learned that from the Marines, and I think it's done well for us.
Wonderful. So how did you transition from the Marine Corps to starting your own business? Because in your bio, I did read you were in a couple other companies,
Yes.
So
yeah,
what transpired?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's more than the hour that we have, I think, Alicia. But I can tell you that going into the transition, I thought, well, it's going to be easy, but it was very difficult to leave an organization that and love and have been with for 24 years, and then to suddenly be exposed to cultures that are foreign to you. And so it was a lot of it was trial and error, finding my space where I could, be appreciated and use my talents to where, I enjoyed doing what I do. I loved all the different jobs. I worked for Amazon.com, learned a ton from Amazon, a great culture, great, efficient work machine that really opened my eyes to how logistics could be done better, a lot of operational improvements. So I'm very thankful for my time there. Lexmark International, I really felt like I wasn't a fit at Amazon after a year or so. And I said, try something different. So I tried the Defense Logistics Agency, which is not in my bio, but I did work for them. I think it's not on LinkedIn, but it's on my bio. Worked for them for a little bit and saw the government side, the consumer side, and said, this isn't for me either. So I asked my wife, hey, we got to move one more time. I'm going to go take a job for Lexmark International down in the Panhandle of Florida. And that's where I've really found where I could be relevant to the federal medical spaces. A lot of my clients were the VA medical systems, and I would talk with them about how I could help them, coming from a mindset of servant leadership, operational improvement. And I really saw that I could really satisfy a need in the federal government for specifically pharmaceuticals and wholesale medical surgical to give them a better product, a product that's newer to the market, cutting edge, and one that would at a fair price that would actually save them money. And so we did that, and there was a wins for lots of folks, not just for Lovell, for our clients, for the VA hospital systems, and especially for the veterans. They get the products we introduced to the VA and the Department of Defense are cutting edge, newly minted, if you will, FDA approved products that really increase the quality of life for veterans and military members.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to talk a little bit because you mentioned transitioning was difficult. And because this show is about confidence, not just leadership.
Sure.
Did you find, like, being in the military, being a commanding officer in the military, your confidence, obviously, as you go up the ranks, your confidence grows. And now that you don't have that, where did you find where did you feel like your confidence was once you left?
It was really, that's a great question, Alicia. And
because you know what you're doing when you're doing it, you know what to, but now you don't have to do that. So your confidence was wrapped in that.
Well, this is a theme I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to wrap it into everything we talk about, but it's being uncomfortable. And it's an excellent question because it allows me to talk about this, that this is really, it's not just applicable to the military or to entrepreneurs. In life, if you're going to grow, you have to be uncomfortable. And absolutely. I think that, to step into basic training, this is what I love about veterans, and why I hire a lot of them, is when you step into, you sign up and say, I'm going to serve the military, you've never been to basic training before. You've never served. And so you have this desire to serve and excel, to do great things, but you've never been until you actually step foot there and start the training. And that's really uncomfortable. Your confidence is kind of low because you're unsure, you're not sure, you've never been in a situation and you don't know what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
but you have this will and this desire to perform. And so the military harnesses that. They're great at harnessing that from young men and women and go,
Mm-hmm.
and we could really teach them to be even greater than they are. If they have the desire, we're going to teach them the skills and give them the confidence to do it. And so what I found was when I left the military, it was the same. It was this, okay, you're uncomfortable again. You're right. As a commander, you're in charge, you're confident, you know your job. You leave and you go to something completely foreign. You step into an Amazon warehouse where there's hundreds of people and they don't know that you're a commander. They just know that, you're the guy in charge of this zone here in the warehouse.
Right.
And it was uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. And I think that's when you have to go back on, it's internal. You go, okay, I've been in hard situations before, and this is how I cope. This is how I do things. I just get to work. But also, you have to have a support group. So my family has been extremely supportive. My wife, she's a trooper, moved 10 times in the last 17 years of marriage, and so she was a really great supporter of mine in trying to figure out what is the new path for me? What is the new occupation that I'm going to land on after leaving something very familiar for 24 years? So she kind of supported me through, okay, well, it's not working for you. Well, I'll support this next, and I'll support this next. But at some point, she's like, hey, Chris, you have to find something that you need to settle on. so I just settled on something that I'm really good at.
That you're passionate about, too.
Yeah.
Helping veterans.
Exactly. I'm passionate about help veterans, but at the same time, it was uncomfortable in that financially it was a struggle. People, I see a lot of advice about folks. They say, start your own company. And sometimes I want to say, no, don't run away. Don't be uncomfortable because it's tough. It is tough. But it's been rewarding. But it was uncomfortable in a lot of ways. Every step of there's something different. No matter what you do is uncomfortable. I mean, let me ask you. Like, I think were you Miss Florida?
I was, last year actually, Miss Florida.
Oh, last year! Congratulations.
And then Miss United States Woman of Achievement. Yeah.
So the first time you ever stepped out onto the stage when you're live, I mean, is that uncomfortable for you? I mean, you've practiced for it, but the first time you do it, were you uncomfortable?
It was unfamiliar, but I wasn't uncomfortable actually.
Oh,
it was unfamiliar. Okay. I didn't know what to expect. But I had grown and built my confidence to the point where I knew who I was, and it didn't really matter what other people thought about me. And I'll have to tell you that story because there was just making the decision to do it was my uncomfortable. That's where I was uncomfortable. Just even making the decision to say yes to that opportunity. So
there was a point where you were uncomfortable.
Yeah, there was a point. But by the time I made up my mind to do it,
you're like, I'm there.
I'm in it. In it to win it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. But we get uncomfortable in unknown situations all the time. And when you have situational confidence where if I know what I'm doing, I'm confident. But then if I don't know what I'm doing, I can't be as confident. We have to get to the point, which is what I kind of help people with is, no matter what the situation is, you know yourself and you know who you are and you know what you bring to the table by understanding yourself and your skills. I call them your tags, your talents, your assets, your gifts, and your skills, that no matter what situation you put me in, which is probably what your military, if I can speak, your military training did for you, that no matter what situation I'm in, I got this. So it's about building that internal confidence, like you said, having that internal confidence that doesn't depend on the situation anymore. So
I agree.
I have 100%. A question in here too.
All right.
So actually I have so many questions for you. I'm so excited, but now you stepped in, you started growing your company. How did you develop the team culture that you have to become one of the fastest growing companies of 2019?
Yeah, I think I would say the team culture goes back to, it's strange to say, I don't like stress. So when people that work for me, I don't have the zero default mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So right from the very beginning, I let folks know, like, I make mistakes every day. You're going to make mistakes, but we're all going to learn from them. I'm not going to get upset. There's no threats. And, a lot of times, get in positions where they're like, okay, if you don't make these numbers, that's your job. Right.
Right.
I really, I had a unique opportunity with Lovell to create my own culture once I started
Mm-hmm.
hiring people. And I said, look, I hire for character. I'll train. You're going to make mistakes right off the bat. We know that. Everyone's going to make mistakes. I still, as a CEO, make mistakes. I make bad decisions sometimes, the wrong decision, I would say. I make an educated guess and based on what I have, and sometimes doesn't work out the best. But at the end of the day, I make people feel like, hey, I'm going to challenge you. You're going to make mistakes, and I'm here with you, and I work with them. So everybody in the company has had, we sit down together at their desk and we work through it. What helps me is that I did this by myself for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
For the first 5 years of the company, we've had employees maybe 2.5 years. And every employee, I trained them to do something that I was doing myself. And so there's this, they know I have their back on training. They know they can come to me at any time and go, you know what, you told me this one time, I forget, I'm getting stuck. Anybody can walk into my office and say, hey, Chris, I'm stuck with this. And so I'm happy to, stop if I have time.
You have an open door policy.
I'll make time. Yeah. Open door policy to a point. And I get to it. We get it done. We solve it together. And I think that culture that's been built is really just kind of I can't take credit for it. It's really the Marine Corps. I think the Marine Corps is a great proof source for teamwork and for servant leadership. Everybody's in it together. And if you want to win, well, everybody's going to have to sacrifice. It's not just the folks that, are new.
So I did an interview recently, and what he was saying is that there are some organizations that really even celebrate failure. They celebrate the mistakes because they want their employees to feel that it is good to go through that process and don't be afraid to make a mistake, because that's when we grow and we innovate. So Not just at the end of the year do they give awards for, top salesperson, but who made the biggest mistake?
I want to win that award. I don't know if I would do that.
Who was the biggest failure? What did we learn from this? And so you don't have to feel like your job is at stake if you make a mistake, but rather, what did we learn from this? Because you did this, now we get to actually learn and innovate around this to make us all better and grow. So I love that you said that. And
I have Marines that, we'll train, I'll teach them things, and they'll do great things, and they, things go wrong. So they're making progress, and things aren't perfect with the project or the contract and in the management of it. And I say, look, hey, they'll say, hey, Chris, I'm sorry. I wish this wouldn't happen this way. I'm like, no, this is good. Because if you hadn't been uncomfortable, if you hadn't tried to do new things, we wouldn't even be to the point where we're talking about correcting things. It's a good place to be.
Right.
So I encourage them to keep pressing through, things that happen. Things are going to go wrong. We had something go wrong today with a truckload delivered into Philadelphia. And I said, okay, let's work on how to fix it. So we whiteboarded it and
worked the problem.
Worked it out. Yeah. So they were kind of like, wait, you're not mad? I'm like, no, I'm not mad. Let's figure out how to solve the problem. I like solving problems.
Right.
So I coach them. I'm their cheerleader for, giving them the space to solve their problems on their own in their way.
That's excellent. But as we were talking about mistakes, I do want to ask you, what is the biggest leadership mistake you've ever made? And what were the lessons that you learned?
Wow. I would say the biggest leadership mistake I've ever made is, not saying thank you. I think, I can't give you a specific, I think I learned it early on in the Marines, but there's nothing wrong with saying thank you. Even if, it's not I don't know, it sounds strange, but even if they didn't participate to the level that you wanted them to participate, thank them anyway. We all like to be appreciated for the efforts we make, right? And it's all subjective in terms of, everyone has a different opinion on performance. And so I think it's really important. Early on, I learned that it's important to say thank you. When you don't say thank you, I think I think there's there's animosity. I think there's a wedge there between the leadership and, the folks that work for you.
It's like
so
us and them.
I'm always,
right.
I'm always big to say, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that was my biggest leadership mistake I learned early on, is I didn't have an attitude of gratitude for the people that worked for me.
Right.
And I
And you
learned that
learn.
very quickly by modeling the good leaders, the great leaders that I had the opportunity to work with.
Mm. And who has been an inspiration for you in your life?
I would say my wife.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, you have 3 children. My wife has said, you know what, I'm going to be here for you, to encourage you to do what you can do in terms of, pursuing your passion.
Mm-hmm.
And she did just an amazing job of like helping me with the kids. She did a lot of homeschool
Mm-hmm.
for a period of time where they need to be homeschooled. And we have a special needs child, and
Oh.
watching her never give up, and watching her efforts really make the difference for success for our child
Mm-hmm.
was just huge. And so her doing that while I'm saying, hey, I've got to go to DC, I've got to have some meetings, her being there for me to do that was instrumental. I think she's my
Right.
biggest inspiration for this. And I loved I will love to share this with her, the wins, and sometimes material things, sometimes just appreciation, but to say, hey, I appreciate you sticking it out when we didn't have enough money to pay the bills and to fix the microwave,
Yeah. That's precious. That's awesome. Yeah. To have that kind of rock and support at home so that you can feel free and not stressed about building something that can become a legacy because of what you're doing.
Right.
So yeah, kudos to her. What is your wife's name?
Paige.
Paige. That's
And I tell everybody that if it wasn't for Paige, this never would have happened, because when I early on, everybody has their startup business horror stories, but mine was I lost 2 clients right off the bat, and that was my only revenue.
Hmm.
And so I had to make the decision: do I pursue this? I had a passion for it, or do I go take
Get a job.
there's nothing wrong with it, get a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great there's a lot of great jobs out there I could have done, but she said, you're gonna have to sell your stuff. I go, what? Yeah, you're gonna have to sell all of it. I'm like, you're okay with that? We at a time I'd already made a career, and now we're starting from scratch, really kind of struggling with cash flow. And she said, yeah, you're gonna have to sell the Mercedes. I'm like, okay. She's like, and your truck, and your camper, and your house in Pennsylvania, and you're gonna sell everything.
Yeah.
And she even volunteered jewelry. She's like, here, go take this to the pawn shop. Let's pay the mortgage with this. So just a rock solid somebody
Mm-hmm.
who had the vision with me. And she said, go
Right.
do. And she found the minivan that we drove for 4 years. So I drove a minivan for 4 years. I can't stand minivans,
Yeah.
but it was the only cost, God bless people who do, but I'm not a favorite of it.
I love my minivan.
Well, it was good when the kids were little, but
I know,
it's like,
when the kids were
it's
little.
like minivans is really not, but I did. And she found it for me. She said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have this. And that was the only vehicle we drove early in 2014.
Yeah.
We only had 1 vehicle instead of 2 for her to have what she needed. We just scheduled time around the vehicle for the kids and what they had to do.
That is how you make it work. That's how you
Yep.
make it work. So you really had a solid partnership at home
Yes.
to model with as you were now developing your kind of identity in your company to build from. So you had
Correct.
a strong partnership, and now you have it. It almost seems like I'm modeling this, I'm taking this and modeling it for what we're building over here.
Yes.
To have that kind of collaborative partnership. Let's do what it takes to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I would have just given up. I would have said, this is really hard. Give me a reason not to do this. Give me a reason to say, we're just going to take that job. It'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Right.
And I just said, she said, well, if you want to do it, you got to sell your stuff. And she was on board the whole time. And that's not
beautiful.
easy, mid-career
It's not
with,
easy. For
with
3
kids.
children and
Yeah.
special needs, and
Yeah.
it's not easy at all.
No.
Does is it a boy or girl that you have that has special needs?
My son.
Your son?
Mm-hmm.
Does he inspire you as well to keep
Yes,
going?
I mean, kids, you know this, Alicia. I mean, I think every parent thinks this, and a lot of people vocalize it, but kids make you a better person.
Hmm.
They just do. They teach you, they make you a better person. They teach you patience. They teach you
Oh yeah.
compassion.
They
You know,
do so much.
yeah, patience, but that's the big one, patience,
Yeah, because I don't have
compassion.
a lot of that.
No, they teach you to be a good listener. They teach you, servant
Hmm.
leadership. Because I
Yeah.
mean, let's face it, you got to, when they're little, and even when they're a little older, you still have to. There's
Do
this
stuff
servant
for them.
attitude that parents
Hmm.
have to have. Yeah, you're the parent, but you've got to help them. You got to set them up for success, right? And whatever
Absolutely.
they want to do. So yeah, there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into it. My hats are off to moms. I mean,
Yeah.
so
And what advice would you give your children about being a confident leader with all the
yeah.
experience that you have?
I would say get comfortable being uncomfortable, and like you said, Alicia, I like to know who you are, know your strengths, and know how to tap into those when times get tough.
Hmm. And you know what's even more important too is knowing your blind spots, like knowing the things that, understanding the things that trigger you, and whether you want to hold on to those things or not. Like really, we call them back of the t-shirt when we're talking with leaders. What are the back of the t-shirt stuff for you? What are the things that you can't do or are difficult for you or trigger you, so that when it comes your way you know how to handle it? So that's important, I believe too, understanding
Yeah, I agree.
not just your strengths but also what things make you go the opposite direction. Like you said, you could have
Yes,
quit if you didn't have someone actually pushing you to success.
true, true. Um, yeah, because
That's part of knowing yourself too. It's like, where do I stop? Where do I stop this process? And who do I have around me and my team that's going to help me
right,
drive through this instead of stopping where I would normally stop.
that
So,
is
yeah.
100% correct.
So,
I agree.
talking about, because you talked about your wife so beautifully and how she was the strength in your life and has also been a catalyst for this business to keep growing. What transferable skills, so if we're talking to someone coming out of the military now,
Yeah,
coming out,
yeah.
what are those transferable soft skills that you would be looking for, or that you would tell someone that can help build their confidence when they start becoming uncomfortable?
Yeah, I would say, the drive to accomplish the mission. I think that if you leave the military, you understand mission, mission statements, mission intent. You understand mission's a goal, right?
Hmm.
So they know how to accomplish a goal, and they know how to, the soft skills are, they know how to work as a team. And I think, relevant to what's going on in the country, the kind of like the diversity debate, I would say that there's no better person who understands the power of diversity than a veteran,
Wow.
because veterans come from all walks of life,
Hmm.
from every part of the country, and they're thrown together, and they have to rely on each other, really for their lives
For their
and
lives, yeah.
to accomplish goals. And that bond, I think, is a great, marker for the rest of us to kind of model. The rest of us being those that aren't in the military, those that are
Yeah.
watching what's going on in television, and some of the friction and the disunity. Right? I would
Hmm.
say, hey, look to the military. Look what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
These guys and gals,
Yeah.
right? They're just
Yeah.
doing these phenomenal things, selfless things, and they come from every walk of life, religion, creed, color, you name it. Just phenomenal people and phenomenal organizations.
That's amazing, because it is so true. You are thrown together and you have to become this family, this team that has
Yep.
each other's back. And you can't be, well, you're not from my neighborhood, or you don't understand what I've been through, or you don't, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because we all are in
True.
this together and we all have to work together and we have to
True.
figure it out. So let's find a way to figure it out.
Exactly. And you can figure it out with anybody. You can get along with anybody.
You can get
So
along
yeah,
with
I would
anybody.
say that's the best soft skill for military members. They can get along with anyone.
Yeah.
And
Because I think
they're,
sometimes they come out and they feel a little lost.
well,
Tell
yeah,
me if this.
yeah, and that's really that's part of it. It's you're used to that. You leave that structure and that just amazing kind of organization that's set up to help everyone be successful and work together. And you don't have that, and so you've got to find that next group, that next support, that next team that you're going to feel a part of. And I would say that's going to be normal. But I would say, stick with your gut, know your abilities. And so they're able to, they can work in any group and with anyone to accomplish a goal or mission. They're hardworking. They know the value of being on time. I know a lot of people think that's silly to say, it's old fashioned, but man, you got to be on time. And the military understands time, right?
Yeah.
And being precise, and they understand how to integrate with the culture. Okay, well, they wear t-shirts. So for me, it was like, oh, Amazon wears t-shirts and shorts. Okay, well, that's the uniform. I'll do that.
All right.
They know how to instantly, like, well, that's not right. They should wear a collared shirt. No, it's okay. This is what they do. This is their culture. You be a part of their culture, and work with them to do great things. So I think they know how to do that. They know how to assimilate, and they know how to lead and follow at the same time.
Right.
They have that servant leadership. They know how to lead, but they know when it's their turn to go, okay, I'm not in charge
to follow
right
instructions.
now.
Right.
I need to support the leadership as best I can with my talents and skills. So I think that, yeah, they have amazing soft skills. I think they need to drive through that discomfort and lack of confidence maybe in something new, and know that, just to get into the military now is difficult. So all the things they've done, they attest to the fact that they're a successful person, and they're absolutely needed in a lot of organizations.
Yeah.
To be contributors.
I feel it's really important to actually write those things out. Like, don't just think about it, but actually sit down and write those skills and those attributes out, because when you go in for an interview, or when you're seeking an opportunity, sometimes you may not have it on the resume because you've been serving in the military, the things that they're looking for, but then you have that X factor that they don't even know they don't even know yet that they're looking for that. Because if you're trainable, if you can learn any skill. If you're open to learning, you can learn how to do anything. But there are some things that if you can articulate to a potential employer, listen, I'm on time. I'm a team player. I can solve problems. We've been taught how to solve problems. Those are things that when you articulate those things, and I feel that builds your confidence too, because like I was saying with the pageant, I knew who I was. I know what I bring to the table, and I know that nothing that anyone else says will kind of dissuade me or distract me, because I know what I have. So when you know those things and you can articulate those things to someone, for them to say, oh, okay, we want you because we think that we can teach you what you need to do, but these other things that you're telling us, this is what we need. So it's really important to write it down.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's a confidence builder for sure.
It definitely is a confidence builder. So let's talk about how your team celebrated when you were on. How long have you been on the Inc. 5000 list? How did you celebrate that? And what are your plans for the future? So that's a three-parter.
It's kind of funny.
Those are a three-parter.
Yeah. So wait, one more time. Okay. Those three questions.
How did you
celebrate? How long have you been on the list?
How long have you been on the list?
We've been on. This is the first time we've been on the list.
First time.
First time. So yeah, it's a big deal. And so what did we do when we found out we're on the list? Really not a whole lot. We had some balloons and we had a little just a little barbecue. Mm-hmm. But we're working. I mean, we got stuff going on. There's only 12 of us, 12 employees. That's it.
Yeah.
We went back to work. We're like, all right, high five. Well, what's next? We just got back to doing what we got us on the list in the first place. And that's, pursuing excellence for our customers and clients.
Yeah.
Because really, at the end of the day, it's that, we take that approach here with each other. But we also take it with our clients. When we have a client, we have a lot of customers. So our clients are our customers. If they have new products they want to introduce to the government, well, they're our customer. We want to make sure, what are their needs? What do they need to have happen? What do they need us to do for them? The VA, how do we help veterans with this? How do we help the procurement folks make it easier for them? And so there's everybody's a customer. So we're busy making the customer happy. It's really, customer focused kind of events here.
Yeah.
So
I have a connection I want to make with you after this too.
Yeah.
So keep going.
Yeah. And then the last thing is, what was the last question? Sorry, Alicia.
No, where are you headed in the future? Where do you see your company?
I see us growing. I'm not sure what that looks like in terms of numbers. I have a vision to be, a double, have 24 employees in the next, year and a half to 2 years. We have a building we're going to build. We're working with the county to develop our first headquarters or flagship headquarters and fulfillment center together in Santa Rosa County, Florida, where we anticipate it'll kind of be a placeholder for about 90 additional jobs once we're in full swing for our kind of future goals. And so I see us growing, but try, as much as you can, maintain that culture of a small company.
Right.
When you're a very, very small startup. Yeah. So that's our goal. Our goal is just to keep doing what we're doing and do more of it.
So finally, I do want to just say, when we spoke first, because I interviewed you for an insights paper that I'm writing about how this pandemic has affected your company and your business. And I was really impressed because you said no one was furloughed, nothing. In fact, the team became more cohesive. Like you guys really gelled more. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think for me as the leader here, you talk about confidence, audacious confidence. I was confident we could survive. Was I concerned? Sure. It was completely different. No one had ever seen anything like this, especially economically with the shutdowns and things. So, people weren't doing surgeries, or numbers were dropping. And I just shared all that with my employees. I shared it with the team. I said, look, this isn't easy. These are the things we're going to do. We said we're not going to furlough, and we didn't. We didn't furlough. We didn't. But we did say, look, these are the things we're going to have to do to survive. And we had to pivot. We call it pivoting. So we had to pivot to do things that we normally don't do to continue the revenue to keep everybody here. And to continue on with the things we have as our goals, right? So I noticed the team. The more I shared with them, the more
transparent you were.
Yeah, I was happening. Exactly. I had confidence in them that they were that I hired the right people to where if I let them know what was going on, I didn't candy coat or anything. I said, "This is going on, folks. We need to do this, this, and this." And they just rose to the challenge, and I was like, I'm still super impressed. And we all grew from it. I learned that I can trust people. I don't have to do it all myself. I would say one of my weaknesses is, Alicia, I like to do everything myself. I'm bad at delegation. And so what I've learned is as your company grows,
you're gonna have to let yourself.
You gotta let it go. And they taught me I could, and they helped me with that. So I thank them for that. Hey, thanks for letting me have a life. Thanks for letting me go home and not have to work till 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Fulfilling purchase orders.
I think that's one of the hardest things leaders have to understand is they can trust other people to let some stuff go. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is wonderful. That is awesome. I so enjoyed this interview. I hope you enjoyed it too.
I did. I loved it. I loved it. It was an honor to be on with you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Is there something you want to share before we close on, anything, leadership, being bold, being confident?
Yeah, I would say to, the two things, the veterans out there, be bold, be confident, and that you can do it, whether you're applying for a job or you're going to do a startup. You have the ability to do it, and you're going to be uncomfortable and go do it. To the employers, potential employers out there, I would say if you don't take a veteran and put them on the top of your list for candidates, I think you're going to miss a great opportunity for a force multiplier for your organization. veterans bring a ton to an organization, and you won't be sorry. Hire a vet.
All right. I love that. And with that, we're going to close out this interview. Thank you so much for joining us here on Leading with Audacious Confidence. We'll see you next time. Audacious confidence is the unshakable belief in yourself that's so brave and so bold that you step into what's possible for yourself, despite your feelings, fears, or failures. I encourage you to follow, subscribe, like, and share this out with your friends. To learn more about our guests, check out some additional episodes. Go to aliciacoury.com/leading with audacious confidence. Until next time, this is Alicia Coury saying, live your life bold, brave, and step out with audacious confidence. Till next time.